Welcome to Techvideo TV and the review of the HTC One Mini 2. Now the One Mini 2 is again a smaller brother of the One M8, which was announced this year, and it has the same design on the back in terms of metal, just one camera, but still 4G LTE built in, really great front and back camera, actually still boom sound speakers, and yeah, quite nice little small design. So if you're talking about the design, let's just check it out from the front. So the 4.5-inch display, we're already able to see how good that looks. The 5-megapixel camera up on front, on the top, micro USB here on the bottom, which supports also MHL, which is quite nice. We have here the volume rockers, nano SIM card slot, headphone port, and on and off switch. There's no infrared built in the Mini 2, which is a little bit sad, so you can't control your hi-fi system, TV, or anything like that, even though this is a premium mid-high range device. But we have a micro SD card slot here, or maybe even in some countries it can be dual SIM, I guess, and we already were on the bottom. So on the back you were able to see we have a nice metal design. There, if I wouldn't have these sweaty hands, it would look even better like that. So you can see how beautiful that is, and compared to the HTC One M8, you can see how it's exactly the same design, but of course no second camera and only one flash here on the regular HTC One. And also from the front you can see that in terms of size they are about the same, but of course 5 inches versus 4.5 inches means that it's a few millimeters smaller, as you can see here when it comes to the height. Compared to the Apple iPhone 5s, if you're already comparing sizes, you can see that still the HTC One Mini 2 is of course bigger, but not much bigger compared to 4 inches and 4.5 inches. I think it's still quite easy to use with one hand to slide down things here from top, or just going left and right. They are all still quite handy in terms of size. You don't have to worry about holding it the wrong way. The HTC One Mini 2 is really not that big. It could be smaller, but it's still a size that's alright for your palm. If you would want to spend the same money, have faster processor inside, same camera, much bigger screen, maybe you should look at the G2 by LG. I know it's a year old, but still we have here the Snapdragon 800 processor inside, really quite good front and back camera, and you can see here already in height they're really about the same, and if you just put them on top of each other like this, you can see that actually just in the width the LG is a little bit bigger, but it has a 5.2-inch screen compared to just really 4.5 inches on the HTC One Mini 2. So check that phone out, even though I know it's plastic and that's why it's cheaper, but it has the exact same price, so don't forget about that. So this weighs 137 grams, has, as I said, LTE built in for 800, 900, 1800 and 2600 networks in LTE, but in Asia it's actually 700, 900, 1800 and 2100 and 2600 megahertz. Otherwise 2G, 3G of course built in, Snapdragon 400, Adreno 305, then 1.2 gigahertz quad-core processor. We have Gorilla Glass here up on front, so you can't really scratch it, or it's really hard to scratch. 1 gig of RAM, 16 gig of internal memory, that's the only option. And otherwise I already told you guys about 5 megapixel and 13 megapixel camera here, and Android 4.2.2 running, which is KitKat right now, but the Android L upgrade is also on its way when it will be out and announced. So you can see here it's easy to set up your quick settings. You can also set here the things that you want, like I don't want HTC Mini here, but I want to have my Wi-Fi hotspot right there, so you can just check out here the result, which is still the same since I didn't hit the done button here up on the bottom, which it remembered, and now I have my Wi-Fi hotspot right here on the bottom, and of course you can change everything up here like you want. Like for example, I put the percentage on battery right up on top here, so you guys can see how fast the battery is draining, which is not that fast, could be a little bit slower though, but we have the maximum display brightness going on for us right now since the sun was shining before right here in my winter garden. So I shot some screenshots about the results for Quadrant, for example. We have 8,883 points here. Of course, a lot faster than HTC One X. Then here you can see I have a little test. I ran a little test in the browser, 1619. Then here in Antutu, it's not even up on the list. But here in the iStorm Unlimited test, it was 4,662 points in 3D Mark. So in the browser, that was actually, if I open it up right here, the different tabs, which there should be different tabs. Here that was not on Google, but of course it was a browser speed test. Otherwise, if you check out the New York Times, if I already have it open here on the full page, not the mobile page, just to zoom in, you can see how really quite nicely and sharp the display is with just 720p. You don't need really much more. You don't need a full HD screen on 4.5 inches, like Sony is doing the same for the Z1 Compact, which has only also the same resolution, 4.3 inches. But you can see that it's really quite fast, responsive, and even at this big site with a lot of ads, it's loading in quite quickly. If you have a responsive site like my Hungarian tech site tech2.hu, you will see that also this over Wi-Fi is going quite quickly here. And you don't have any problem reading the text since it's really also quite sharp and looking good. If you look at the keyboard just itself, you can see that we have the HTC keyboard here built in, which supports also swipe, which I don't have turned on right now, but you can easily go to settings here on the bottom and change everything like you would want. Like here, I want a trace keyboard, so I really want to do this, for example, which is still one of my favorite features that actually Sony, I think, announced or introduced a few years ago in their Android devices. So we checked out the browser, which I actually forgot to show you is that it rotates quite quickly, which is turned off right now, but you can easily turn it on by going here into the settings and say auto rotate on, and then you can see how quickly really it reacts when it comes to display turning, which is a sign of that the processor is really quite good. Let's try a little bit of gaming like Temple Run 2. I know it's not the latest game, but maybe still one of the most played games on all of the smartphones. And after that, we will go to the camera to show you guys how really good that one is. Takes a while to load since we only have 1 gig of RAM. But you can see we are quite quickly in the game, where I have to escape from the gorilla by jumping, sliding, and doing all kinds of strange things here in this game. And you can see all the details in the back are looking good. And I know this is quite basic here right now, but of course I just installed the game, so I will just die quickly for you guys so you don't have to worry about looking at this kind of boring game too much. What I find a little bit sad is that we have also here the Android buttons on the screen, not below, but it's the same with the HTC One M8. So let's just check out here the camera, which is on the back really quite good looking. In terms of speed, it could be a little bit fast. You can see a little bit of slowing down going on a few times. I don't know why, but otherwise the quality is really quite crisp, amazing, and you can shoot full HD pictures not only with the back camera but also with the front camera. Full HD is no problem. You can see for selfies it's quite easy to use. Your whole head fits inside the picture, and even all the quality of my camera or the details about my camera are quite nice to look at. Here on the bottom you can read everything here of my Panasonic GH4, how that looks like, with which one I'm shooting of course 4K pictures right now, which this smartphone is actually not capable of to shoot 4K videos, but of course you don't even need that because there's almost no players and the TVs are still too expensive. I won't show you any other games actually, I think that's not necessary, but you can see here software wise we have a quite nice range. Standard Android apps by Google here, for example. We have also Zoe to share our pictures, but also some productivity things like Polaris Office 5 for this HTC One Mini, and they have a long-term relationship actually already going on, so I can't show you guys right now anything here on the device that we could use, but I also want to show you that we have some tools like the flashlight, voice recorder, so everything is out of the box right there for you guys. You don't have to download much more apps or many more apps from the Play Store. And this was already it from the full review of the HTC One Mini 2, which is comparable with the LG G2. I think a quite nice phone because it has a lot more metal, but maybe if you look at the G2 Mini, that's also smaller. That's maybe also a good choice for about 200 bucks. I know it's a little bit dirty right now, but looking good. Check out my review on that also on my YouTube channel, and of course on all the other phones like the Moto G, regular HTC One M8, and so on, or even the a little bit cheaper Desire HTC handies like the M618 or the 816 here in the picture. Thank you much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. This was the review of the HTC One Mini 2. Thank you much for tuning in, and down below you will find also an Amazon link if you want to help me out keep the site up.